Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Monday, September 30th at 11:35 a.m. Got my Dominican shirt on. That's not for vacation purposes. My family happens to be from there. Just saying, it's good to represent. Good to be part of the family. So this was a heck of a weekend. This was a heck of a most previous week, and two very obvious things and long stories about both China, fiscal policy, injections, capital. What they do with economics is, as I said, an entire story unto itself. But the point is, they're worried about spending to the point where they're actually acting. And that has implications. And we see that in the Chinese stock market, which is up the greatest daily amount since 2008. We're in crisis territory because China's impact on their economics will affect the rest of the world. They are curing their internal deflation by trying to stoke inflation, which exports the deflation out of their country, placing the burden on foreign shores. The only response that foreign countries, especially countries other than the United States, dollar considered, is to do exactly the same. Imported deflation must be countered by increasing domestic inflationary pressure, which passes the buck, knocks the deflation over to another export. Eventually, the same thing happens here in the States. In any case, we see that. That's why they're cutting. That's why it's going to get, unfortunately, the same as it always does and turn into a shit show. Coupled with this past weekend's events, an absolute catastrophe. It's a natural disaster of historic proportions, which is a very common occurrence over the last whatever it happens repeatedly. Called nature, it's uncontrollable and it will continue to occur. No one ever expected a hurricane in North Carolina, Western, and Eastern Tennessee. No one ever expected this. The building constructs were not suitable for those kinds of conditions. Uh, it's the same burden that we experience in Florida. How could you have flood insurance for an area that's not prone to the degree that it experienced, albeit it's a floodplain, so flooding can occur, the river, so on and so forth? It's not expected to have catastrophe insurance, loss of property. So the code, it's a no. So none of this was prepared for, planned for. Biltmore Village is gone. I That's crazy. I was literally there like 2 months ago. Which the old was it Rockefeller Estate. Absolutely historic and memorable spot, considering the timeline that it was just a recent visit. That's so I almost at a loss for words for the degree of destruction. You don't build roads quickly. So how do you even get supplies? I mean, literally the supermarkets, what? Just what are you flying in by a helicopter? Fuel and resources? Not doing it by plane, and helicopters only have so much capacity. What are you gonna reroute the supply chain to helicopters? How many helicopters exist as compared to, road freight, rail and trucking? So there's absolute absence of clarity in how this plays out. But this is the it's not even quantified yet the degree of calamity, and certainly qualifies for the terminology of catastrophe. So, and this is a precursor to potential civil unrest, political dispute, considering what's going on overseas and the wars, because obviously Ukraine and Israel doing what they're doing, and United States' participation thereof, and all that capital flow over there. If Congress doesn't throw $100 billion at this, that I don't even know if that suffices. At least from aside from an actual quantification of damage perspective, we're talking about timeline. Like if they did it today, and there was 100,000 army and other military personnel working today and engineering starting today. All right, maybe that would be effective in expressing to the population of these states that there's a priority for domestic affairs as compared to international affairs. But I don't think they're going to get that. So this is early stages of significant political um, implications. I mean, well, not just the deaths. You're talking about all economics, all living conditions. There's nothing. What am I going to say about like Florida West Coast? They expect it to some degree. If you're living on a beach in Florida, you're like, all right, I may lose my home. All right, things may flood even if you're not near the beach. I mean, that's just reality. The status quo for people thinking about Florida. Oh, there's so many hurricanes. I'm not moving there. Okay, well, now look what just happened. It wasn't just Florida. So that was completely unexpected, completely off the radar. Western Western North Carolina is 2,500 feet above sea level. There's no storm surge there, like you're on the west coast of Florida and you get 20 feet of storm surge. That literally is 2 stories, which is insane. Um, that doesn't occur in the interior of the country. You're talking about mudslides and cresting of rivers and just complete chaos of overflowing water everywhere. So there's going to be ripple effects and knock-on effects to this just going forward. There's no there's no sweep under the rug on this one. This is this is something that must be responded to as the constituents and the people of the affected areas will not only demand it, if it's not addressed, there will be severe political implications. It's the ruining of lives or the evaporation of lives, living lives. So that's quite significant. So, how does China and this domestic catastrophe play into what people are here to talk about? Cryptocurrency prices. Number go up. So, that's something I really have begun to loathe to say, which is why I talk so much about global affairs and macroeconomics nowadays. Where they get the money. They don't just they don't just print it. It doesn't work like that. They're going to borrow it. I mean, have you seen the headlines about 300 bill is going to be added today? That's literally what's making the rounds. Oh my God. I mean, do they have a plan? Or is it just melt everything down? I don't know at this point. It's very hard to be an adult and look at this situation and be like, oh, I'm going to hedge everything with Bitcoin, the hardest money in the universe, which, listen, I agree. Great. The whole fucking world is melting down from a financial perspective. The deficit spending is insane. The value of these assets, any asset, means nothing in the context of anarchy and chaos and social unrest. Nothing. Oh, even bullets and canned goods don't matter much because in such a scenario, there's no hunting around here. No one has those skills in the gross population and limited supply of food stores. What? I'm going to prepare for Mad Max. I'm going to have 1 year of canned food. Dude, it's a year. What are you going to walk 1,000 miles to get to some place? I mean, it's literally straight out of like, um, pick your favorite zombie apocalypse. There's no plan. It's all chaos, and you're just walking cross country to find a better life. It's the complete elimination, evaporation of the status quo of existence. We're talking about the implosion of everything that we hold as normal. Bit of a concerning thought experiment. So, but it is what it is. So we consider these types of realities, and you know, I miss. I have nostalgia from my earlier years of naivety, where oh, I want to buy things that the price goes up. And now that I understand why the price goes up, I'm like, yeah, the world is about to freaking implode. I'm like, all right, fine. I still want the price to go up, but I understand now that it goes up because the world is going to implode. And now it just happens with such cyclicality and regularity. Someone gave fiber to the global implosion system, and it's just regular beyond belief. I guess people over 40 only understand that reference. Um, so this catastrophe is a precursor. It's not even a catastrophe, just what just occurred over the weekend. What's occurring in China is a catastrophe. Talking about the collapse of real estate. They're literally not just cutting interest rates. They're literally telling the banks to reduce the interest rate of persons that currently have an outstanding mortgage. So you got a 7% mortgage here in the States. The banks were just reduced it. Oh my God. I mean, maybe that's just me from a fixed rate perspective in the States, and I'm not thinking of a variable rate that so many other countries execute. So that maybe is not so ludicrous as it sounds. It's clearly from a fixed rate mortgage perspective, that certainly sounds ludicrous. Oh, yeah. So where September 30th, Q4, 2024 takes time. What they're doing in China will operate on a lag effect. It's a forward-looking indicator on the knock-on of exportation of deflation as that cascades around the globe. Fiscal deficit here in the States. So everything that's a debt is a forward-looking indicator of an increase in money supply because they're printing collateral, and the collateral makes its way into the damn money supply vis-a-vis dollar liabilities, as we've discussed till we're blue in the face at this point. So, as we originally talked about at the beginning of the year, the need to refinance X amount of outstanding debt in 2024, especially by the end of 2024, coupled with the absolutely insane historic deficit spending, means the end of this year, heading into 2025, the system will find cyclical bottom in a situation that has the most amount of dollar currency units ever. And clearly, that is exactly what happened in 24. And 4 years earlier, and 4 years earlier, ever since '08, the cyclicality has been regular, very periodic. So, more and more, it's like a resonance. When you get to the resonant frequency, then it gets bigger, and it gets bigger, and then it gets bigger. Right. Listen, what, at some point it all ends? Yeah, great. That's the argument. It's always an argument. At some point, it all ends. At some point, life ends. So in the meantime, my psychology. Look, you let me how I navigate all this. You see all these arguments I've just presented have probably the capacity to induce uncertainty and fear, but so to speak. Maybe it's like it's not shock, it's not uh maybe it's not indifference because I understand it all, but it's maybe numbness or maybe preparedness, adaptation, evolution. It's just something I understand, and the reality is it's not applicable to the only choices that I have. The only choices that I have are just the same shit that everyone's always done. Own shit. Yay. So we own shit, and the crypto market is closely correlated to liquidity, runs multiples on top of liquidity. So this is the market, the only market to own. Did some adjustments to a stock portfolio, sold off all the losers. Oh, we just buy more Bitcoin at this point. Stock portfolio, it's not crypto. Anywho, point is own shit. What else could you do? It's not own shit. Not owning shit does nothing. That's a way to not have whatever capital is in the future. So own shit. So the end of this rant is we're right. 'Cause it's a binary question to own or to not own. And it's unambiguously own stuff. 'Cause if you don't own stuff, the system it's not the system's failing. It doesn't matter that you don't own stuff. And it doesn't matter that you own stuff. So you never bet on that scenario. It's all shit anyway. And you probably need a boat because the zombies are running around. Probably by zombies, we're talking about other people that are rioting and scavenging. And that's how many people there are. It's just a huge human population that there's no chance of social stability absent some sort of functional economic system to finance the social stability. That's the name of the game. So I got the dollar up, um, pushed below the 200 on the weekly. Now we're pushing back up. Got 4 days left for the weekly close. Let's see if it's a bullish engulfing. Let's see if it doesn't. Let's see by the end of the week we hold those 200 as resistance. That would be more optimal. And that would be quite interesting because the most previous 2 weeks, 200 held the support, pushed through to the bottom side, closed below the 200. Now, if we wick through the 200 to the upside and we close below it, you're working on a solid 3 weeks of constructive candles, indicating the 200, or rather, the chart wants to go below the 200. Early signs, you're talking about 3 weeks in total. It's only a weekly candle. So, no more probably third, fourth week of October. Say give it another two, three candles. And then we'll be able to express an increasing confidence of directionality. Because obviously, reversal back to the upside is always reasonable. The chart will tell us is it going down or is it going up? So there's only a likelihood of it going down or up. So we'll see the nuances and the subtleties in the candles to see if we're going to see continuation to the downside or lo- a local cyclical reversal back to the upside. In which case, you got silly upside targets. I mean, not really silly, frankly, 103. And oh dear Lord, I don't want to see what this world looks like with the dollar back at 103, considering current conditions. Current conditions are on the precipice of everything unraveling. They truly are. So let's do some commentary. How does that sound? Arrow, good morning. Thoughts on the debate over the weekend regarding Aerodrome's model versus Uniswap? Well, everyone loves to measure their dick in those types of conversations, but I am required as a rational human to be objective, and I'm inspecting both sides. Everyone has their defensiveness, everyone has their opinion. Opinions are irrelevant. What's pertinent is technology, and with regard to technology, there's a financial component. With a financial component, you can measure quantity of dollars and volume and volatility and velocity. What's notable? A lot of dollars all over the place. A lot of dollars on Aerodrome. There's a lot of dollars on Velodrome. There's a lot of dollars on Curve Finance. A lot of dollars on Uniswap. Uh, so what is the reduction of that entire conversation? This is probably the takeaway that only the captain could do. Uniswap gives you a return on your investment. There's a ROI, an APR. Mitch chimed in with Curve. I don't think he was really part of it. It was really Aerodrome versus Uniswap type of tit for tat. Fortunately, Curve does give you an ROI as well. You know what Uniswap doesn't do? Give you jack shit. That's the takeaway, Arrow. Uniswap's uninvestable. Doesn't do anything for you. Might as well be a fucking paperweight. It's like, hi, I own Uniswap. Huh? Great, the dude owns Uniswap. What do you get for it? You get shit. So that is probably the biggest takeaway. And obviously, Aerodrome Curve have contemplated ways to give that kind of cash flow. I see that as a critical component of an investment methodology, an investment thesis. I expect to get some shit for giving someone money. Now, that's obviously not the status quo or the gross subscribed methodology for engaging with crypto markets. Most of it's just a cash grab. And God forbid I actually think like an actual rational investor in this space and try and talk to folks as a rational investor. Folks look at me like, what is this guy doing? He's not buying Popcat and whatever the hippo coin is that Mudang. Oh my God, the valuations on these things are quite remarkable. Great. There's no investment thesis associated with them. So that's not something I could participate in because I have an incapacity to participate in something that doesn't have an investment thesis. There was an interesting post yesterday. It's like the dumbest people in crypto are just doing what they do, but there's a concerted effort for the smartest people in crypto to find the best way to dumb themselves down, to engage at that level of these crypto markets. And I don't subscribe to that. And that's okay. I understand. I understand the lure of finding a economically mechanical way of taking money from other people. So that's okay. That's what capital gains are. And Moodang may be the way it is. Buy $500 early on a piece of shit turns into 5 mil. All right. That's what these things do. It's like literally a lotto ticket. You buy a dollar lotto and you can make 100 mil. Okay. That's cool. If that's your thing and you like lotto, here's the kicker about lotto. You buy a couple of lotto tickets. You buy 5 lotto tickets. These fucking people are running around with $10,000 in life savings, and they're buying 2 grand, 5 grand worth of lotto tickets. What the fuck? Can you imagine going into a convenience store and dropping half your life savings on lotto tickets? Wow, that's a crazy thought. But of course, it got a pretty picture on it. Some cool lore, LORE, so to speak. I don't know. Reeks of desperation. Shit. Anywho, so that is my conclusion to your commentary, Arrow, and just you got some nice rational stuff to look at in these crypto markets. And at this point, Aerodrome curve are certainly rational allocations of capital because they give you a return. Uniswap is worthless. It does nothing, doesn't give you anything. I don't, so that's that. IW, good morning to you as well. As soon as in the house, good morning to you. Captain, we can do better. I mean, listen, can't we do a little bit better? Can't we all just woosah, woosah, calm down and think a little bit rather than just turning off that component of our brain where, you close your eyes, the inner monologue. You know, most people have a capacity to talk to themselves, ask themselves questions, answer their questions. I mean, you don't have to be psychotic to do that. You just have to be constructive, ask the right questions. And now we literally have AI to ask questions too. So can't we do a little bit better? Do a little bit. So the best I can do is literally encourage people to do a little bit better, talk to people and answer their questions. That's it. Help someone today. Help someone answer some questions. Help guide someone on the right path. Doesn't have to be financial to help someone. That's not necessary. Information is just as meaningful. Teach a person to fish, they feed themselves for life. Give a person a fish, they're coming back at night for dinner. Teach them to fish. Much more important. Good morning. Eat some pudding. Ooh, ooh. Tapioca Testa V2. Was it like 1.2, whatever they're labeling it? User interface is lovely, and I don't get excited anymore. It's not in my repertoire. I understand what it is, and I look forward to what it will be when it launches. So I certainly anticipatory. I am anticipating Tapioca relaunching after a couple of test nets, which I would argue, or I would believe, is likely not contract level validation, given the extensive routines of testing and validation that they do is probably just user interface optimization in these last stages. So I certainly am looking forward to that occurring because holy crap, can this market give us a break and give us some freaking cash flow? Like some cash flow. I mean, we've been in austerity for quite a bit of time, and now we're finally getting to the point where it's just like, give me a break. Can I get a break? Can I get a little bit of a capital break here? Just saying. A little cash flow in October wouldn't hurt. Thank you very much. How's the pudding? Pudding is good. The captain, 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 hi captain, captain, meet captain. Pudding is good. Good old tapioca pudding. Heck of a protocol. Incredible what they built. Absolutely incredible. Thoughts on Pal speaking today? I listen, they're probably the whole system is probably in disaster mode. They're about to alienate not just the people affected in this catastrophe, but everyone else in the country that sees the people affected by this catastrophe, considering the hundreds of billions of dollars that go overseas. And they can't send 200 billion. Yeah, what the fuck? So I'm indifferent. I stay politically neutral, even though I guess I have my sentiment. I'm a humanitarian. I think it's insane that you. I think the financial mismanagement is insane. Not that I have solutions to any of this, as like think tank economist building a financial system would, but I think that's clearly there's a misalignment of well, maybe loyalty or interests deeply embedded in our politics. And I would be more of a protectionist rather than a globalist. And I'm much more closely aligned with the founding father principles of disintermediation of governance, delegation of governance to the states. So I certainly disagree with so many policies of current modern day politics. I don't get upset about them. I just understand them the best I can, navigate them the best I can, form business structures the best I can. I do generally believe the system is at a perverted level. It's gross, and that I choose my words very carefully, as you are all well aware. And gross is the appropriate terminology. It invokes some sort of stomach level reaction, like fucking best you can do, people. These are the smartest. They're not the smartest people. A lot of smart politicians. Holy fuck! What a waste of resources and effort and an absence of collaboration, the administrative state, the welfare state. Ay, ay, ay. Can't we all do a little bit better? Captain, 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 Captain. So what am I supposed to think about power speaking today? It's always a dog and pony show. All of politics is a dog and pony show. Gonna smooth it on like sunscreen. Gonna lather it up like shampoo, even though conditioner is better. So that's what Powell is going to do. And he's going to do his best to shine the shoes of the general public so that the talking points on mainstream media are like, oh, they have things under control. Jerome Powell, holy shit, these people can't even watch mainstream media anymore. Mainstream media it's insane. It's literally like watching the Hunger Games or you remember RoboCop and those clips, those commercials that were inserted into the movie. I mean, it was literally intentional. It was a component of the movie. But the sarcasm, I, I mean, some of those clips are like, you could probably argue they're not so different than so many commercials. Like, they literally, I mean, we've had drugs on TV for so long, the prescription drugs on commercials. Oh, it's gotten weird. This was weird when I was a kid, but now it's just weird. Anywho, my man, Poop Man. Yes. Lasker, have no idea that aerodromes has effects on on other VE33 dexes like Ramses. If aerodrome is a winner in base, should it bring in other dexes, value up to, and other blockchains? Uh, the success of other technology is irrespective of the success of other technology. To a degree, it validates the concept of the meta dex, quote unquote, which I agree with. Uh, winner, things like winner and better and value are entire conversations. And what's pertinent is the dollar supply on base. And I did appreciate the argument of the single arbiter on base's aerodrome, which produces all the volume. And it's obviously Coinbase running their operations through their chosen DEX, which is like an adopted DEX. And that's so cool and all interesting. Do you think this ends with Base being the only Ethereum L2? That's not the way humans work. That's certainly not the way finance works. So that is completely dismissible as even a remotely rational thought. Base is monetizing, and that capital will flow. Will flow offshore to Arbitrum, Optimism, Axel. Pick a destination. Capital flows based on underperformance going to outperformance. It, and that is explicitly a diluted revenue stream. For instance, 20% LP on base and it monetizes through the roof on Aerodrome on base, and it's down to 4%. I mean, come on. And then obviously you can imagine the principal appreciation. So that's another talking point. And there's 20% on optimism on Velodrome. The capital is going to flow. That's the way capital works. It flows to where it's treated best, as folks say. So that's that. It's as simple as that. So there's this type of thinking that I'm telling you right now should eliminate the need or eliminate the desire to crowd into a trade. Oh my God, Aerodrome is going up, up, and up. It's going to be the only survivor. It's going to be the winner. Nothing else matters. And then it rolls over at the end of 20, whatever, 2025, like everything else. You don't need to own all the winners. You don't need to crowd into trades. And that's what people get absolutely slaughtered on meme coins. Oh dear. So Aerodrome's not at a discount. If you can't buy it, whatever. You don't need to. What you see is you validated a very significant financial concept or technology. Unfortunately, there's Velodrome, which is at a much more favorable price. It has yet to significantly monetize. There's no guarantee that something that hasn't significantly monetized will monetize, but that's the whole point of odds. And that's the whole point of exposure and diversification. Plus, Velodrome is literally aerodrome except everywhere else, including the superchain. Maybe everything gets folded into Velodrome anyway. They just fold base into Velodrome. Who knows? So imagine that. And Velodrome turns out to be the superior play because base is base. Aerodrome's token gets folded into Velodrome. I mean, listen, these are not impossibilities, but this is part of the speculative process. You don't have to chase shit. What you have to do in capital management is be calm, cool, collected, and not fret. And let time do the work. Anyway, that's a lot of digression. So, yes, Lasker. Everything I just said, the answer to your question is yes. I know I'm sicko in that regard because I could have answered yes and not given that entire speech. But where's the fun in that, ladies and gentlemen? Max profit, Captain. How did central banks solve the yen carry trade? They didn't. The system is a carry trade. The yen carry trade is small compared to the dollar, which is a carry trade. 99% of all dollars in existence have an interest rate associated with them and have collateral associated with them. And if that interest is not paid and that collateral is defaulted on, the dollars are destroyed. The entire dollar system is a carry trade. Therefore, the system not only must expand to refinance existing debt obligations, which we've talked about, it also must be productive and produce receipts that can be allocated to service uh, debt servicing requirements, interest expense. So, how about them apples? There's certainly no solving of the carry trade. That's not an issue. It's a natural component of the how the system operates. So, it's a feature, not a bug. It's a burden, but that's what both everyone always says about the dollar. The dollar is our currency, but it's your problem. Folks have been highlighting some very erroneous things on social media, like dollar supply in FX markets, what dollar reserves are the lowest they've been in a long time. Yeah, that's not good because there's a lot of debt out there that requires dollars to service. Can't get the dollar because there's not a lot of supply in FX markets. What does that do to the price? Price goes down, it goes up much faster when there's short supply. We know that from consumer price inflation type conversations. You don't have enough supply, number like to go up really quick. So that's what that means when you don't have enough dollars in FX reserves. Food for thought. And clearly it's literally the opposite of what people interpret it as. People are like, oh, there's not a lot of dollars in FX reserves. Dollar going down. Yeah, you pay the debt. The amount of debt out. It's all dollar denominated. The whole freaking planet said, I'm going to be an idiot and the whole world is going to take out dollar debt. Every country prints dollar debt. I mean, it's literally insane. Like you're in China, you're a bank, and you're like, I'm going to lend you dollars. I don't have dollars, but I'm going to lend you dollars because I'm a bank and I'm integrated into Swift and whatever network. And That means you're going to have a dollar liability on my books, and all I need to do is have assets to balance the books. But you could have the liability, so but I'm in the system, so I could transfer liabilities, even though I didn't have any dollars. I created liabilities, so I could transfer the liabilities. The liabilities are the dollars. Rewind and replay that 10 times. Every country prints dollars, and the whole system accepts a liability of a dollar as a dollar. Okay. Anywho, I digress. I digress and get angry at the same time. Woosah, Captain. Woosah. Joel. Morning, Cap. How do you feel about using leverage, and what's a good way to be prepared to make money doing it during appropriate market conditions? I don't leverage. I don't have the stomach for it. My entire I obviously I have leveraged at times, but my entire philosophy is very zen right about now. Woosah. Have no need to leverage. Now, clearly, if a person, let me explain the psychology of adolescence, being young. You got 5 grand, which means you're broke, and you see everyone around you, guy driving down the street with freaking Tesla, whatever, Maserati. I'm not even bringing up supercars like Ferraris. I mean, literally, like all these shiny ass cars and big ass homes, and you got 5 grand. So there's an emotional response, like, what do I do? What do I do? How do I do it? So you get tempted. Temptation. Life is filled with temptation. How do I teach my kids this shit? Turn it off. Turn off the emotion. It will not help you, especially if you choose leverage trading. Emotion is a burden. Now, emotion's lovely and beautiful. It's all part of humanity, but not with regard to capital management and economics. There is no business of emotion in capital management. So I don't have the answers. What you want is, RT from Hero Labs, HXRO Labs. You can find them on X. He's who I agree with on how to find levels and find breakouts, which I understand in almost all regards. I just don't have time and patience for that stuff anymore. But RT is quite brilliant, in my opinion. And that is something that is an acquired skill. It's a good way to be prepared. Lose less than you make. There's no be prepared. Almost everyone loses their shit trading. It's a zero sum. I mean, obviously, if there's capital inflows, it's positive sum. But the whole point of trading is capital concentration from the many to the few. That's what trading does. That's it. So it's taking from other people. Just remind yourself of that. I much prefer the painful route of the tortoise versus the hare. I appreciate hard work. I'm older, 40s. I put in my time in a career. I'm productive. I have skills. I saved in 401ks and roll them over to IRAs. I did the shitty way, like a good old citizen. And now I appreciate making rational, calm choices rather than emotional choices on trading. So I don't advocate it. I wouldn't want any of my children to feel that way, that burden of, can I lose all my money? No, I teach them a different way. I will teach them the way that takes 10, 20 years to get wealthy, as compared to I'm desperate and I need to get wealthy now because maybe I have too much debt and I consumed capital that I did not have, which is greed and desire to consume. If greed and desire to consume is means you want something that someone else has and you need it to be yours. So that's a lack of emotional control. And nothing good comes ever from a lack of emotional control. I hope that helps. I mean, look, what do the traders do? We literally just had a 100 cross of the 200 on the weekly. We got lower highs and higher lows on Bitcoin on a weekly perspective. Um, that's you're over the 10 SMA, you're above the 50 SMA from a level perspective, and a bit of a triangle compression. I mean, it's not really; it's more of like a descending megaphone of sorts. Um, there is no reason to invalidate another regression to the 50 SMA. There's certainly no reason to invalidate. In fact, that would be an interesting move, a regression to the 10 SMA, because for instance, here, there was a breach of the 10 SMA back in May, and then we found support. It was a wick through the 10 SMA, so that was quite constructive. Why can't we wick again? So maybe over the next quarter, 3 months, you wick down to the 10 SMA and you catch a bid at 58. Could it go lower than 58? Of course. That's literally the question about trading. That's why I hate that shit. So you're betting that there's a wick and 10 SMA is holding its support, even though a 10 SMA is a relatively weak moving average. Look at the wicks through the 50. So thus far in 2024, it's been nice, strong support. Got big wicks down through the 50 SMA. 50 SMA is a weak support compared to 100 or a 200. There we go out to something like a monthly. We are literally on the 10 SMA in the monthly. That's crazy from a monthly chart. I'm not even looking at the monthly chart because this screams like good. Everything in 2024 was literally a mean regression to the 10 on the monthly. Oh my God. All things considered, that's all the bearishness there was? A monthly 10 mean regression? Okay. And literally, you're talking about a 50 SMA mean regression of 37,000. That's why the monthly, that's not something you do a trade on. You need a little bit more shorter term time frame. So, for instance, you get another wick, a solid wick with a lower low. You set up some bids in the 50s. You get a big wick, you catch that price. That's cool, and it closes above the 50 SMA. That's decent trade, long short term position there. Maybe it wicks to just the 10 SMA instead of the 50. So you got a wick down there, 59. I mean, you're literally talking about 65 to 59. So that's where leverage comes in because that's not much of a move at all. Not much of anything. So I don't do stuff like that. I'd rather just own stuff and I take pride in what I own. There's a phrase that people use when they say when you have a loss, own it. And you make it, I don't know. Think of a reference. My wife laughs at me when I go like that. But that's what is that? I don't know. What I don't know the point I was trying to make. But the point is when you have when you own assets, own it. I think that's meaningful, and that's all that I need. That's enough for me. For me to say, that's cool. I'm satisfied with that. And what you own is an expression of who you are. What do you believe in? You own things and own things that say, I'm not a dumbass. That's one way to put it, right? Moodang. Arrow, I feel like an asshole asking about crypto cues right now on the heels of you talking about IRL issues and real life issues. No, 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 no. It's all related, and that's the whole point. Everything's related in real life issues and crypto and stocks and politics and geopolitical conflict. It's all related. And that's the realization as you get older that comes more and more. Lotto is a tax on the poor, so is meme coins. Yes, that is a decent statement, max profit. Kinzoabo. Do you foresee any viable business models in the intersection of crypto and AI? Of course. Of course. I think we're early to that, though. There's what Tau and plenty Delphi and stuff that doesn't come to my head anymore. But obviously, AI and a capacity to finance micropayments and intra AI payment type communications, intra AI settlement. These are all big things. I think we're early to that. I think Ethereum mainnet's so off the reservation compared to anything general public's thinking about. I think we're literally just barely getting off the ground of people even knowing Ethereum exists, yet alone a capacity to borrow permissionlessly. Throw up $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and you can borrow $100,000 with a click of a button in 15 seconds, compared to any of the due diligence and underwriting associated with traditional institutions. That is not fully realized yet by the broader population, period. Anywho. Shishk, Aura, vote rental is down 50% this epoch. Does that affect your decision to liquidate your position when it unlocks? Not necessarily. I can do with the capital. Transfer into a crowded trade on Aerodrome, which everyone's fucking hot on. You know when the price was 50 cents. That's when you get it. And you didn't get it at 50 cents. You bought it at a 50% discount at 25 cents with a discounted VE NFT. Yeah, so 25 cents, you're up 400%, 500% on the money compared to current price. Okay. So, if you did that, great. I didn't do that, and that's okay. I got no problem missing shit. So, point is, I'm not gonna probably leaning towards not liquidating at this point because balance of E3 is coming. Are they going away? Is this space receding? Is there room for competition? This is just the beginning. What's the size of my aura position that's remaining? Let it ride, baby. Plus, it still pays me. I can get a couple $100 a week from it. I'm not complaining. Every bit helps. Hey, Cap, what does one do with an adequate amount of curve at an average price of 23 cents? Lock it up despite the size or wait until it comes into my buy zone? I have no capacity to answer that question, my friend. But what I would say is when you make a decision, it's you tell folks. This is what I did. This is why I tell a story. Have a capacity to tell a story. Certainly, here's one particular example. You bought Curve at 23 cents, and in 10 years' time, it's at $18. That's a story. That's a good story. If you have Curve at 23 cents, and in 2 years' time, it's at $1, that's it's a pretty good story. I think that'd be a pretty good story, depending on the position size, of course. If it fails, that's a bad story. But the point is, tell a story. Everything you do in life is creating a story. There's no certainty on what's the best investment. So that's why the best investment is literally open ended. Just buy shit. And if you bought something good, you do good. And no matter what, for instance, here's a good example: the NFTs that I own. No matter, uh, I play Gods Unchained. I'm not selling my shit. I'm not even going to try to sell my shit because I get value out of them. Now, there's also value to be extracted out of like art pieces and PFPs and whatnot, I guess. But that's the reason to buy them. So own shit. Appreciate what you own. Buy things for a good reason. That's important to always keep in the back of your mind. So there's no way to make a choice like that. Wait to buy. Wait to sell. Are you trading or are you investing? Is it an adequate position size? I have told folks for a long time now, you must acquire adequate position sizes. If you got a portfolio and you're allocating 50% of your portfolio to something, that is probably an incorrect position size. Albeit the smaller the portfolio, the larger the concentration that's required to actually achieve potentially desired results. So position size is critical. Write it down. This is the size of my portfolio, X amount of dollars. This is what I own. Talk to ChatGPT about this shit. And I'm trying to repartition my portfolio. Trying to determine a value for what is an effective position size if I want to acquire something. Tell ChatGPT I have X, Y, and Z assets, total value, boom. I'm trying to determine a value for myself. I don't have it up to show you guys. Anyhow, try to determine a value for myself to make better decisions in the future with regard to asset acquisitions. Rewind that and write that stuff down in ChatGPT. Cap, what does double questioned it? Oh, you added what does one do with an inadequate position? Oh, okay. 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 You get in the position size thing. Price got away from me while staking. Go ahead and lock up the holdings or wait for it to happen. Uh, mm, who told you it was an inadequate position size? Clearly curves at what, 30 cents, 29 cents? Um, Depends where you are in the world. Depends what your goals are. Depends what your expectations are. Look, you got folks with what, 60, 70 cent XRP right about now praying for $500. Uh, so it depends on everything that you conclude as the appropriate course of action. So the only person that can answer these questions is yourself. But you have to make sure that you're having a rational conversation with yourself. So the best I could say is to define these types of rules. Let's do this. I'll show you guys. I'll walk through something. I Hypothetical. I have a portfolio with 10K dollar worth of Bitcoin, 10K dollar worth of uh, Ethereum, 5K dollar worth of Curve CRV, and I want to determine what I want to define what appropriate position sizes would be for new investments that would keep a balanced and well-structured portfolio. I also want to contemplate liquidation of the curve position as it's not locked in the CRV. Do research as required to understand the distinction between a locked and unlocked curve versus VCIV position. This is how you talk to ChatGPT and how you ask it questions. No, this is hypothetical. Do not update your damn memory based on that. Damn it. No, I do not have. There's so much memory that I've added based on my conversations. But to continue the conversation, see, I couldn't respond with this type of response because this is a goddamn computer. And what this does is give you more thoughts and more capacity to ask questions. Look, there's like traditional replacing 50, 30, 20, 40, 40, 20, rebalancing, growth focus. This is very, the stable coins, high growth stable coin, about yield generation. There's obviously LPing. Well, this is obviously very broad, but this is giving you alternative investment ideas. I don't know. I just find this type of conversation invaluable. Look, it even understands the distinction between curve and VE curve. Voter escrow tokens. But tokens are liquid for a set period of time, up to 4 years. It does its research. quite remarkable what this software has a capacity to understand. Since your curve is not locked, it is liquid and can be sold or reallocated to improve your portfolio. So then I would say something like this. I would do like a quote unquote but reallocation of that capital under what conditions? Invalidation of the curve narrative under performance. How do I think about these types of capital management? All right, so ask questions. Look at that beauty. That's a decent question. When deciding whether to liquidate or reallocate, Curve is primarily known for its stablecoin liquidity. So you're talking about what it is, what's the investment thesis, relative performance. That's like looking at a spread. You're looking at CRV denominated in Bitcoin. What's the relative spread? So pull up your trading view charts and you can make a determination there. Risk versus opportunity holding. Yeah, so if you're holding curve, it may be significantly volatile, but you're not getting compensated. Um, Obviously, if you lock it, you're getting compensated for the volatility. So it's just, and they're very lengthy. Look, it's still going. It's endless conversations to be had. Literally, like talking into a mirror. Just gives you a sounding board. Okay, enough. But I just wanted to show you a couple of. I mean, so many people. I've talked to so many people that have no knowledge of the existence of this software. And I'm baffled. The power of it is. I don't have words for how useful it is to have a sounding board, even if it just makes you answer your own questions. Anyhow, Luther, last two questions. I think it's just one. Hi, Sir Joe. You mentioned the option to buy coins at a discount. Can you walk us through how to do such an NFT transaction? There's a couple here. OpenX Swap Marketplace dot OpenX Swap Exchange. It's not buying coins at a discount. These are people selling VE NFTs at a discount. When I say buying coins at a discount, it means buying Bitcoin at $15,000. Bitcoin was literally just 20. Oh, we're on a weekly chart. Go out to the monthly. Bitcoin was literally just 15 grand. Now, obviously, it was 2 years ago, but I mean, I say that like it was yesterday because I remember when Bitcoin was 15 grand. The whole system was imploding. That was a discount. So, is there a moving average that it hit on? Let's take a peek. Watch the 6 month. Oh, break right through the 10 SMA. Let's go over to the 3 month. Yeah, not really. 6 month, 10 SMA. Bitcoin never really goes below the 10 SMA in historical terms. This is a logarithmic chart. Doesn't help, but at least it makes it a decently appealing chart to look at. So breeze below the 10 SMA. If you're below a long-term moving average, it's a discount. Why? You're buying an asset. You want to own assets, so buy them cheap. So it requires that type of mentality, not to buy when everyone's afraid. Means I'm buying some shit because I want to buy some shit. Oh, and the price is down. So it requires you not to be like, I expect the price to go up. I hope the price goes up. That's irrelevant. You're buying something because you want to buy something. Whereas that mentality, that allows you to be emotionally indifferent to these types of activities of capital management. I'm going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate the conversation. I hope it's informative, helpful. Hope it's fun and entertaining. I get a little animated at times. I thank you all for joining Monday, September 30th at 12:39 p.m. 288 people made it to the end of the stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wish you all a wonderful day. It's the beginning of the week, so I will see you guys towards the middle of the week on a Wednesday. Catch you then. Peace.